Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Building Great Sales Teams podcast. I've got Marv, a.k.a. Big Marv, in the house today. He's in the podcast trailer. We're under the overpass next to my office, so if you hear some road noise, that's why. But what I love about this damn trailer is we can do this anywhere. So Marv is the founder at Automation G.O.A.T. He's a funnel and CRM expert, and he just completed his first speaking event yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
So how was that for you, man?
Dude, it was fucking incredible. And it is my first speaking gig, obviously.
Yeah.
I've been in the game a long time, and I've had a lot of people reach out like, man, when are you going to start speaking? When are you going to start doing this? When are you going to start doing that? And it's like, well, I guess 2023 is the year to do it.
Yeah.
Kai is putting this event on. He gave me the opportunity, put it together. I fumbled a little bit, but at the end I had a standing ovation.
Hell yeah.
And I made sales while on stage, that's never fucking happened to me. So
what a beast.
That was pretty fucking cool.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Were you nervous? Did the nerves get to you a little bit?
Oh, yeah, the nerves definitely took over. It's funny because, like, for my personality type, I never thought that. Like, I thought I would just go up there and be all right, but it's like the minute you get on stage, I'm like, my whole body started shaking, you know, and I'm just like, oh, fuck. And, it was like, I practiced and practiced and practiced so much, and it's like you lose all the words when you get up there. Like
100%.
I literally forgot my whole speech, and I'm just like, how did I just forget this whole fucking speech, you know? But I've been lucky in that I've been training salespeople for a long time, so I've always been up in front of 15, 20, sometimes 50 or 60 salespeople. You know what I mean? So by the time I started speaking on stages, I was pretty practiced. You know what I mean? And but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's different when it's in front of your peers like that. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah.
Like the ones that actually know when you're fucking up and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
And that too, like it was a room full of people that there's a good chunk of that room that already know who I am. They already trust me a bit, you know. So like, it's not only the strangers, but it's like the people that I know the most. That I'm just like, man, I don't want to disappoint these guys.
Well, you definitely didn't disappoint. Like you said, it was a standing ovation at the end, and I think it's because it wasn't about CRMs. It wasn't about funnels or marketing or money. It was about, like, basically what that business has allowed you to do in terms of spending time with your family.
Yeah.
And that connection that you have with your family. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it kind of came from. It's like, hey, I built this company, and you were just like, well, I'll let you go through it. So where did the inspiration for the speech come from?
For my kids, man. Like, I do everything for my kids. I grew up very poor, you know. I went to over 30 elementary schools. I have 12 siblings. I have, like, 47 nieces and nephews. And we just didn't have shit growing up, you know. And my mom always told me that I was going to be the one that changes it for our family. Like, I built my first computer when I was 10 years old, and after that, I was just obsessed with it. I'm like, okay, I got to figure out a way to break, the rat race. I want to give my kids a fucking life that I never had. And so, my kids and my family 100% motivate me to, like, show up. I'm trying to leave a legacy behind for them so they can follow their paths, they can follow their dreams. And I don't want them to have to wait till they're 36 years old to try to figure this shit out,
Absolutely.
Like,
shit, we're the same age.
Yeah, I actually turned 36 next Wednesday.
Oh, okay. I turned 37 in a couple months, so I'm a little bit ahead of you.
A little older than I am.
But no, what I love about it is, and I came to this conclusion after I joined Apex as well, and we're especially our generation was taught so much of the grind culture, the hustle culture, you know what I'm saying? And that's what built your business for the longest time.
Yeah.
But you talked about in your speech, like, finally having that mindset shift where it was like, hey, I don't want to keep having to tell my kids that I got to work, that I got to work late, that I got to work early, that I got to be out of town or whatever the case is. So you started putting things in place so that you were able to come to them and say, hey, Daddy ain't got to work this weekend. That was probably the best part of the speech, I feel like, is when you said that, everybody was like, you know, that triumphant moment, you know what I mean? And you can, I don't think I've seen a picture of your kids yet, but you could see, like, your kid sitting there smiling, all of a sudden, like, oh, shit, Dad doesn't have to work anymore. What was that moment like for you?
It was insane. Like, you say, I'm getting goosebumps right now because I still remember it like it was yesterday, you know? Like, it's constant hustle and grinding. Like, I felt like it was literally never going to end.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, to just be able to surprise them and be like, no, Daddy's don't have to work this weekend. We're going to go get some ice cream and we're going to go see the coast. Like, it's the most amazing, surreal, like, you know, like when you work so hard for something and like it finally clicks and like it's a moment that's hard to describe. It's indescribable, you know. It's it was just the sense of accomplishment.
Yeah,
you know, it's like this is finally like because it gets kind of dark, you know, when you're being an entrepreneur, and that's why I tell people like make sure whatever it is that you're chasing, you know, you're building a tribe and it's something you're passionate about because at the end of the day, when you are in the fucking 18th hour, right, trying to get shit done, like literally, I just stayed up for 44 hours yesterday, right, because I'm so obsessed with what I do. The money's not going to push you through to the end, right, because you're going to have nights where there is no fucking money, right, and you're going to have a coming to Jesus moment of like, is this shit really worth it? Right, and so when I finally got that moment of like, Daddy doesn't have to work, I'm like, yeah, this was the moment. This is what it's all been building to this, you know.
I love it, man. So, you know, you talked a little bit of, about your background and growing up poor. You know, tell us from there all the way to, becoming the founder of Automation G.O.A.T. What happened in between?
So like I said, I built my first computer when I was 10, right? So I don't know why I got this gift, but I knew it was going to be in technology.
Yeah.
And my mom kind of curated for me. She's like, you're going to get a job at Microsoft when you grow up. You're going to make all this money. You're going to set our family free. Like,
yeah.
And it's funny how I ended up working at Microsoft because that's exactly what I ended up doing. But my mom met a dude on the internet, and she flew out to the West Coast in Washington, and they got hitched like almost immediately. And so I was like, well, I'm not going up there yet, you know, because
how old were you?
This was in 06, so I don't fucking know, like 19 or 20 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to give it some time and see if this relationship actually works out. So I didn't see my mom or visit for like 9 months. And then that 2-week time span for my 21st birthday, actually, I went up to Washington and visited. In that 2-week time span, I went to the coast. I went snowboarding. I hiked mountains. I went on sand dunes. I'm like, man, fuck flat, hot-ass Texas. And then I found out Microsoft was in Seattle, so it's just like, oh, this is perfect. I'm just going to move up here and get a job at Microsoft, you know?
Got family over here. It's beautiful there.
So I literally flew home to Dallas, had a crazy fucking weekend, like literally. And I took my whole savings. It must have been like $3,400 I spent that weekend.
Oh, jeez.
Which doesn't sound like a lot of money, but
back then that
was a lot of fucking money.
That was baller money.
And so, like, I was like, I'm leaving Texas. I'm going to Washington. I'm going to find a job at Microsoft. Life's going to be awesome. And, 6 months later, I got a job at Microsoft. And I did that for years, engineering systems. But then I finally got to the point where I had a 6-figure salary there. I had a new car, eating steak every night, had more fake friends than I could keep up with. It was a nice to me house. Some other people might not think it was so nice, but it was a 4-bedroom, way more house than I fucking needed.
Yeah.
Huge 40 by 40 shop in the backyard to where I can, because for those of you that don't know, I build cars and motorcycles when I'm not building systems.
I didn't know that. That's badass, dude.
Yeah, you gotta get
man of many talents.
You gotta get a break from the computer, so I just go get a break in the garage. But I had a moment where I was sitting in my house one night, and I was like, man, is this really it? Right? Like, you work your whole life, and you're like, I was hyped so much my whole life to like, you're gonna get this job, and you're gonna do this, and I finally get there, and I'm just like, there's got to be more to life than this, you know. There's
100%.
got to be more, because like, where do I go from here now, right? Because like that's where my thought was, like, well, where I've reached the upper echelon. I don't know where the fuck to go from here.
What was that? 15 years ago or not 15? That's probably like 10 or 11 years ago, right?
Yeah.
6 figures was like 5%. You know what I'm saying? Of the world made 6 figures. You know, and so. And that's what was in my head too. It's like once I made 6 figures, I was like, I made it. Like this is just life now. I don't have to keep working for it. It's just gonna happen. You know what I mean? Just like that. And
it was great. Like I enjoyed it for a while. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is life.
Yeah.
Right. And then after 6 months of that, you're just like, what's next?
This ain't shit.
Like. I've eaten the same $100 steak like so many times.
Yeah.
Like, what's next? You know.
Well, I feel like at that point you have 2 routes. You start challenging yourself and pushing yourself even further, or you just kind of like, hey, here's women, here's drugs, here's some other stuff that I can use to kind of fill that like non-contentment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know, for me, at least when I was 25, I went the wrong way. You know what I mean?
That was me too. I was fucking doing psychedelics, cocaine, Molly, ecstasy. It was just like I was trying to feel. So I was constantly on the what's the next? You know, like what can I enjoy in this life? You know, and then I built a system. So I started building systems on the side. I've learned about this guy named Russell Brunson.
Oh yeah.
Started building funnels. Like I got obsessed with, like my first big YouTube series was 22 days of funnel hacking, you know.
Nice.
And like that's how I started building funnels for people, because they would message me and they're like, I don't know how the fuck you just did that in 40 minutes, but I've been trying to do this for 6 hours. Can you help me do
out?
this?
Yeah.
And I actually helped somebody that they closed their business immediately, because we came up with an offer. It was a free plus shipping funnel, just like Russell teaches. You just $5.95 or whatever the fuck it was, and it was for like this 7-day like beauty trial. It was like some
beauty products.
Ship beauty products. Yeah. And I told her, I was like, hey, this is gonna be risky, but if you can eat the overhead on 100 of these packs, we probably won't sell them, but let's just break even on them. It will acquire some leads, and then we can go from there. The idea of this funnel is to just break even. So as long as we break even, we're getting our leads for free.
Yeah, lost leader. That's what that's called, yeah.
And so we turned it on. The next morning we woke up, we were already at over 100 orders.
Wow. And
so she was like, all right, we'll take care of it. I'm like, yeah, let's take care of it. The next day after that, 800 orders.
Wow.
We're like, fuck. And this is when she started getting nervous of like, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And then the next morning after that, it was 1,700 orders.
Turn that shit off.
And she was like, we got to do something. And I was like, all right. And so literally I had to break the funnel, like, because at that point it had gone viral. So it was getting so many, it didn't matter that I turned the ads off. It didn't matter about it, because it was getting so many shares. People were just going to the funnel and purchasing, and there was thousands of orders. So she came to me, she's like, Marv, I don't know how I'm going to fulfill all of this. Like, what the fuck are we going to do? I'm like, hey, this is a good problem to have. Like, this is, trust me, this is what every person that approaches me to build a funnel for them, they want it to do this. So trust me, this is a good problem to have. And I told her, I'm like, hey, why don't you go to the distributor of the product and say, hey, we just sold like 3,000 units. Can we give you guys our customer information? You guys direct ship them, and we'll just eat whatever that cost is. And when she approached them, she was like, they were like, we'll do it at no cost if you'll introduce us to the guy that did this for you.
Holy shit.
And she said, no, he's my secret. I'm going to keep him to myself.
Damn.
We'll figure this out. And she ended up collapsing and closing the business down.
Wow.
Because she couldn't figure it out.
That's crazy. And that's unfortunate.
But that's how this all started. Like, because once I did that, I was like, now how many more people can I do this for?
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. And just inside the beauty space, inside the online product space, I mean, that was just the like tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, that was like the taste, you know? I was like, cool. Now, so it was the first time that I actually like envisioned myself doing something besides working at Microsoft.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because at that time I wasn't doing what I do now full time, right? It was like probably just like anyone else that has like a well-paying corporate gig.
Yeah.
And you start being an entrepreneur, you got your side gig, right, for a while.
Yeah.
And that's all funnel building and building systems was all like a side gig until I had a couple clients that had things like that happen, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna take the risk. So that's what I ended up doing was like I'm gonna leave Microsoft, take the risk, and bet on myself. I went down to a conference in San Diego with Billie Jean. And Billie Jean, I told him, I was like, dude, I don't know how I'm gonna go from this fucking super nerd in the basement at Microsoft to like create some character. Russell says I have to create an attractive character. Because at the time I wasn't Big Marv yet. So Big Marv is the attractive character that I created based on Russell saying I needed an attractive character. And so Billie Jean tells me, he's like, bro, I already know who you are. You're fucking ex-Microsoft. You're not one of these 997 gurus. You actually know what the fuck you're doing. So what you need to do is stop being a bitch. You need to go home and just be Big Marv to the world. And so that's what I did. I just went home. I started Big Marv's network. I started Big Marv brand. Like Big Marv was born that week.
That's badass.
In San Diego. The rest is history.
Man, first thing I want to point out is she missed the boat on that. You know, like that scarcity mindset of like, oh no, I'm gonna keep him a secret. He's mine. You know what I'm saying? When she could have introduced this company that was 10 times as big as she was, right?
Yeah.
To you and been that connection, and they would have been in her debt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's that social, law of reciprocity, you know? And they probably could have helped her with her business, whatever she wasn't doing right. She obviously wasn't doing something right.
Yeah,
and
like, they basically was like, here's a golden glove, right? Like, you there's no way a single person is gonna, unless you're gonna fucking get some cousins and something with some envelopes in your living room and you're trying to fucking ship out 3,000 orders. Plus, like, if I hadn't have broke the funnel, I don't know how many orders she would have. Like, I literally had to go delete the order form on the funnel.
Wow.
Because people would not stop submitting orders.
That's freaking awesome. And so the second thing is the attractive character, you know? And so this is right around the time when I guess Stumu was probably being mentored by Kevin Nations, right?
Yeah.
And he was in that room with Russell Brunson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you think about the timeline of all these things, like you were building your machine before Ryan even started the program of building your machine.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
it's kind of cool to see like another perspective on that. It's pretty awesome. And I noticed that you have a product building your brand in 100 days or something like that, right?
Yeah, my personal brand blueprint.
Yeah, and it's a killer product. But then, you know, having gone through something similar the last 2 years of building your machine, it's just kind of cool to see like a different version of it come from, you know, that group of people, that group of marketers back in the day. So you were part of that. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I like to call us the OGs of the industry because, like, that's really what it was. I remember when I first joined Apex, some of the new members and stuff in there were like, well, how have you gone through it? You know, like, somebody even poked at me a little bit because I haven't gone through Break Free Academy. Right? Like, when I join these groups, I don't do it to fucking take the courses. I do it to go to events, to meet guys like you, right? But at the same token, I didn't go through Build Your Machine because I've already been building my machine. Like that, I come from the same ranks of where Ryan learned that. Yeah. You know, so like we all get it. We all understand it. Yeah. It's like create an attractive character. You post every day. You're consistent. Boom.
Yeah.
People are gonna fall in love with you. People buy people every day of the week. They don't buy products and services. I don't care how cool it looks.
Yeah.
If they don't like you, they ain't buying shit.
100%. And so whenever I joined, I joined straight into executives, right? So I'm in this room with like freaking all 8-figure earners, you know what I mean? And here I am with my little 7 figures, you know?
That's how I feel being an executive. I'm like, I don't belong in this room.
Yeah, and that's the first thing you get is that imposter syndrome or whatever. And so, but what I started doing is, you know, I'm a student, right? So, all right, I'm just going to do what they're doing, you know? And I had the Break Free Academy, the Building Your Machine course, but at that point, I had never gone through the videos or anything. I was just like, you know what, this podcast thing looks cool. Let me do that. Let me execute on that because, you know, and I started the posting, I started the group. I did all of that stuff. And because they're just talking about it naturally. I didn't have to go through the course because I got it by omission, but got it by association, right? And so, but for me, it was the podcast was the piece of building your machine that I actually enjoyed and got passionate about. And now we're doing 3 episodes a week, Yeah. And so, I get it. It's hard for me to sit down and actually like listen to something and do something. I have to like go out and actually practice. What I'm learning. So I just kind of built my machine in a different way, I guess. But now, one of the things he popped up on the screen yesterday was this dual funnel system. Can you walk us through that and explain that to us?
Yeah. So it was actually, this was another like marketing ploy, right? Okay. So when I first developed it, I called it parallel programming. It was the PPP, parallel programming principle. Nice. Right? Because I feel like there's a plague, a poison in our fucking industry, and it's just gotten worse over the years. And that's why the saying exists, marketers ruin everything, because marketers fucking ruin everything. But there's so many people that are out there teaching these tactics, right? So I believe there's frameworks and then there's tactics, right? Okay. So a framework is like, it's a true principle that as long as you follow this framework, irregardless of your tech stack, that framework is like your core foundation of a house, right? Like you build a house, you're gonna have your foundation and the sticks. You can break down the sheetrock, you can reconfigure the rooms however you want, but the foundation is the foundation.
And that's the framework.
Right? So that's your framework. But then the tactics would be like, how do I want to configure these rooms to best flow for my taste, right? And if you remodel that house, you might knock out a wall, you might do this or whatever, but you're not going to re-pour the foundation. You're not going to rebuild the frame of the house, right? Okay. So the parallel programming principle is like, if you just follow this principle, I don't give a fuck what you do or where you're at, you're going to succeed with it, right? That's the idea behind the blueprint. And so I came up with this funnel strategy, and it's called parallel because you're always doing things in parallel, right? Okay. So like when you're crafting your customer journey, like if I know that you're downloading my blueprint, right, and you're following my blueprint, the first action I give you is to go plant your flag. And as you go through the blueprint, I give you different things to do. And I'm like, well, the average person takes 2 or 3 days to do that, right? And then once they implement it, then this thing over here is going to fire off. And so I'm basically teaching you how to build something to where everything feeds the next thing,
it's
right?
Parallel to your customer
always
journey.
Something's always running in parallel. If I'm giving you this message, it's because there's this thing over here that I'm going to try to drive you to. Okay. Right. And then once you get over there, there's another thing that I'm going to drive you to next. Right. Gotcha. Like I'm just constantly, things are running in parallel trying to get you. But then when I launched parallel programming principle, everybody's like, well, what's that parallel? What does that mean? I don't know. And then I was like, I renamed it dual funnel system, and everybody's like, oh, 2 funnels. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's way deeper than 2 funnels, but we'll run with dual funnels. So like dual funnel system just kind of stuck. But it's the core framework behind the dual funnel system is if you have a lead magnet, it's a 6-step funnel. If you don't have a lead magnet, it's a 4-step funnel. But then there's a series of automations, workflow management, automating your contracts and fulfillment and everything alongside of it. But it's called the dual funnel system because basically we blended your lead acquisition funnel and your booking funnel and your qualifying funnel all in one funnel to take them on a specific journey, right? Okay. So, for example, if you go download the dual funnel system, right? So on the landing page, it's going to say download now, right? And so many people would literally put their calendar on the next page thinking that somebody's just going to book with them after downloading the lead magnet. Yeah. And they might book, but they ain't showing up to that fucking appointment. Our research shows that most people were only booking on that second step simply because that was just the next step to do. It's not that they wanted to book an appointment. They wanted to get through the funnel, and that's the only option they had. Yeah. Right? So
because they want that download. And
they just wanted the download. They didn't want anything else, right? And so with the 6-step funnel, we added a bridge page, right? Because I'm like, think of the customer journey. If you just download my thing, I'm catching you sideways by saying, let's get on a call together.
Right.
Right. So instead of taking them directly to the calendar, we take them to an invite page, which is a video of you saying, hey, out of thousands of people that have downloaded this, everybody always has questions, and I want this to be another shiny toy that you don't fucking use. So how about I invite you to get on the call with me, right? And then there's buttons to invite them to get on the call or not get on the call. Okay. And then they can go to invite, then there's the calendar page, then there's the qualifying survey page, because I want to know the 5 to 10 things about them, exactly where they are in business, so I know how I'm going to be able to help them.
Nice.
Right, because my focus is how can I help this fucking person. Yeah. So there's 5 to 10 things I need to know to see where they're at in their journey, so I know how I can help them. Mm-hmm. And then if they hit no, then there's like the default thank you page. But even if they say no, and it's funny, I poke fun at people that go through my funnel because I'm like, oh, so you didn't want to book a call with me, but my download was good enough. Don't be like the 87% of people that download this and don't do shit with it. Don't let me catch you in my funnel again in 2 months. But anyways, if you aren't one of those shiny toy buyers and you're a little aggravated with me for calling you out right now, then what you need to do is join my group below, right? Because I know I'm trying to
join the group.
Yeah, because I know exactly where they are in the journey, right? And I'm gonna talk to that. So that's the idea behind the dual funnel system, is crafting your own, like, what do you have, a lead magnet? What it is? Mm-hmm. What is it? You know, you got to define that, but you can take that dual funnel framework and apply it to any business.
So I'm pretty green to marketing in general. You know, everything I've done over the past 13 years has been impulse sales. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Door to door, B2B, get them on the phone, close them. You know, if you buy or die, right? Yeah. Old school, you know what I'm saying? And so can you I think I know what a lead magnet is. I think I know what a tech stack is. Can you walk through some of those things? What's a lead magnet?
So a lead magnet is literally like what it sounds like. It's something that's going to attract a lead to you, right? So
does it always have to be free?
It doesn't always have to be free. Like a lead magnet could literally be you, right? Okay. So we've tested this where like a local service provider, right? Maybe you're trying to do a free estimate, or maybe you want to come out to do an inspection on their roof, or maybe you have a coating floor company. Maybe you're a high ticket coach. Maybe whatever. It doesn't always have to be free. I mean, it doesn't always have to be a thing either, though. Right. Like, it doesn't always have to be a PDF. It doesn't always. I can tell you what types of lead magnets have converted the most, but I've also had like lead magnets where the lead magnet is the person, where it's like, book a time with me, right? And the call to action on the landing page is book a consultation, right? I'm the lead magnet. Yeah. You know, and so really it just depends on where are you trying to take them in the journey, right? Like, your lead magnet should be step one in the journey of where am I trying to take them to next, right? So if you have a high ticket course, for example, right, your lead magnet. Let's say you have a high-ticket course where in that course you're going to teach someone how to build and launch a podcast, right?
What is a high-ticket course, though? What's the price point that's high-ticket?
I would consider high-ticket anything north of, like, $5K.
Okay.
So if it's, like, $3 to $5K, I consider that mid-ticket. That used to be considered high-ticket a couple years ago, but in this day and age, like, $3K is the new $5K.
Yeah, me and Ryan were talking about this because one of the things we're doing for our clients is if they show interest in wanting to launch a podcast, we're like, we could just put together a podcast course and have it as a value add for our clients, but we can also sell it for like $500. You know what I'm saying? And so easily. I was
and so if you were going to do that, right, a lead magnet into that would be like, here's the top 10 things you need before starting a podcast. Right, and then maybe you put together a PDF of like the mics that you use, the lights you use, the camera that you use, like an equipment list. Maybe you give them like, this is the distribution platforms that we use. Maybe you compare Anchor versus Libsyn. You know, like,
we literally have a Word doc with all that stuff on it now.
Like, literally, you take a PDF and you're like, this is what you need before you start a podcast. You need a hook. You need to name your podcast this way. This is the cadence of your podcast. Like, you give them like a PDF, which is getting started. Now, if you craft a journey for that 30 days, right? Like I'm going to consume that podcast ebook, right?
Yeah.
What's my next question going to be after I take that ebook and download? Hey, I got all this shit together. I'm ready to start a podcast. Now what do I do? Oh, well,
Next
why
steps.
don't you get my course
Mm-hmm.
where I teach you exactly, or I walk you through shooting your first episode.
Nice.
And then what you need to do post-production, how to distribute it and get it out there, right?
Is it a solo episode?
Is it
it
solo?
virtual?
Is it virtual?
Yeah.
Like, is it in person? Do you have more than one camera angle? Like,
Right.
like what? So maybe that is your course, right? And so if I downloaded that as a lead magnet, it'd be very natural to sell me that, right?
Yeah.
But if you had a lead magnet where, here's the top 10 things to avoid when you're buying a home, and then you try to pitch me on your podcast course,
It's not gonna make much sense.
it's not gonna make much sense, right? So that was my emphasis on the customer journey. Is like your lead magnet really don't fucking matter. Like it could be book a consultation, it could be a down, as long as whatever the fuck it is matches up with whatever you're trying to sell them on the other side.
100%. So, I spoke yesterday, and it was a wholesaling conference. That's not really my game, you know what I mean? But another follower is another referral partner, you know what I'm saying? And so even I think I got like 12 more followers from that event yesterday. But one of the things I did is I'm just starting to play with this because I just started consulting full-time 6 weeks ago, right? And so one of the things I did is I went to my phone sites page and I added a book a strategy call button. You know what I'm saying? And that's $500, right? I used to do them for $1,000, but now I've dropped it down to $500 as kind of like my lead magnet, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But the real lead magnet was the presentation that I went through, you know what I'm saying? And probably about 10 people went through, filled out the form, and downloaded that presentation. So, I had one button that was, do a strategy call, and then lower was the form for the presentation. And it says, get my toolkit, and I keep naming it toolkit, so everybody knows what I'm talking about. So knowing that, and that was just on one page, what would you have done differently there?
I would never have two call to actions on the same page.
On the same page, okay.
Right? Because what the fuck do you want me to do? You want to book a strategy call? Because I might have booked that strategy call, but you distracted me with your free toolkit. So now because for me to give you $500, I need to know, like, and trust you. And just that little bit on stage, right? Like, that's why I made a sale while I was on stage yesterday, because somebody connected with me in the moment, and that funnel was specifically built for me taking you through that, being with me in that moment, right?
Nice.
So had you drove me to a page to either just get your toolkit or just book the strategy call, you probably would have gotten a bunch of $500 calls yesterday if that was the only call to action you gave them. But because you confused them, right? They weren't clear in the journey. They came to a fork in the road, and they're counting on you as the Sherpa of, do I take the path on the left or the path on the right? And you're like, I don't know. I don't give a fuck. Just pick a path and go down it. And,
Damn.
And so you really want to cater it. So how I would do that different is like, get your toolkit. Boom. Next page, video view. Thank you so much for grabbing my toolkit. That'll be delivered to you shortly. I know out of everybody that grabs this toolkit, they always have questions X, Y, and Z. And I would love to sit down with you and show you how you can leverage this toolkit in your business so you can use it right away. Do not let my toolkit be another shiny toy. Click that button below. You can hop on a call with me. It's $500 for the session. And by the end of the call, you're going to get X, Y, and Z. Boom. Now, I not only get your toolkit, but now I'm going to fucking book that $500 call with you too.
Beast. That was just like $500 in consulting right there.
Yeah, so where should I send the invoice?
Doug@teamargento.com. No, that's fantastic. And that's one of the things that I forgot who it was that told me, when you start a podcast, you get free consulting. So it's great. No, that's awesome, man. So, you went from doing the beauty product, having that funnel blow up, to, now you've got your dual funnel system. What's next for you and your company?
So I just merged, or not merged, but partnered with the ROI marketing firm. So we always focus on building the system, right? But I can build you the best fucking system in the world, and if we don't flood that motherfucker with traffic, you're gonna come back hooting and hollering at me saying that the shit don't work when really you just ain't working.
Right.
Right. Like you got to put traffic into the system. Like, I'm sorry to break your heart, sweetheart, but you can't just build a funnel or a website and be like, woo, I got a WordPress blog. Now all the traffic's gonna come up and be a millionaire.
Yeah.
It don't fucking work like that. You got to build an audience.
You got to
have the traffic that's gonna flood it. So, ROI marketing firm, which is Zach Williams' company, they focus on the organic side of things, publishing blogs, managing long form SEO. Doing short form content, like kind of building that presence. And where they were getting hung up on is, man, all our clients, they don't have good websites, they don't have good funnels, they don't have good automations. Like, so now we're running all this traffic to them and they can't handle the heat. And so it was just like the perfect sense for us to merge companies, because like now we have a full stack agency that manages all the traffic and all the builds.
Nice.
So now we have that for our high ticket retainers, and it's going to enable us to now really productize the dual funnel system. So now we're in the process of productizing the dual funnel system to where, like, if you're a realtor or a real estate agent or a wholesaler, for example, you can get the real estate dual funnel system for like $5K, right? So we're like niching it out because typically you'd have to pay us $30K to get your own dual funnel system.
It'd all be custom.
Right? And it'd be custom, proprietary to you. But then we had so many people that came to us and like, Marv, we love you guys, we want to work with you, but we just don't have $30K, which makes sense. Like most startups, like unless you're earning $1 million or more a year, you typically can't afford our service.
Right.
Because like, for you guys that don't know, if you run a real business, you should be spending 10 to 15% of gross revenue on your marketing efforts, right? So if we're at a $10K a month retainer, then that means our ideal client needs to be earning a minimum of $1 million a year to just
$100K
afford it, right? So we were like, well, how do we serve those people? Because I'm playing the long game. I'm like, well, if I give them an entry-level dual funnel system to where they can take that and go get to $1 million a year, I'm probably going to be the guy that they hire to manage it beyond
once they get there.
Right? So now we're putting a lot of our focus on this $5K offer to where we'll build you a dual funnel system in your specific industry for $5K, get you launched, and within 3 to 6 months you should be at the monetary point of being able to bring us in full time.
Nice.
So that's where we're taking our focus next. We do a lot of fitness industry, a lot of real estate right now, and a lot of high ticket coaching. And so that's the three ones that we're going to be launching first.
That's how I heard about you, was from Chris Izzo, and he was speaking at the Growth Encounter at Austin's place, and so was I. And I had him on the podcast, and he starts talking about y'all got to reach out to Big Marv, you know. And I'm like, who's this Big Marv? You know, I keep hearing about this Big Marv, you know, and he tells me that like he can generate leads all day long. You know what I'm saying? Like he is that attractive character. You know, he's putting. What are they? Those things? Those boil things?
Fucking,
what do they call them?
Hot cuppies.
Hot cups on him, and his fucking chest is all bulging and stuff. And he's on TikTok, and he's fucking blowing TikTok up and everything. But you changed the game for him because, like you said, you know, you can drive all that traffic there. You know, this is on the other side, right?
Yeah.
You can drive all that traffic there, but if you don't take care of it, if you don't nurture it once it gets there, then you're just wasting probably 50%, 60% of your leads, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened with Zizzo. I know I'm not supposed to have favorites, but he's one of my favorites. Because he just does the work, and he has the attractive character. Like, Zizzo has over 2 million followers. I think he's at 2.6 million last time I checked. Total across all platforms. He really needed a system behind him, you know. And when we first started working together, he was like, Marv, I got a list of like over 4,000 people. They're fucking dead though. You're not gonna make any money off of it. Like, I've been emailing, I've been trying to talk to him. I'm like, no, well, let's dive into the customer journey and make an offer that actually makes sense to them. When you got these leads, what were they getting from you? So he told me like how he acquired the leads and what kind of messaging that they were introduced to and everything. So we ran a database reactivation, which was crafting automations and messaging specifically around those people, recognizing where they were in the journey, how they knew Chris, why they knew Chris, and and we were able to bring them 34K recurring in less than 48 hours just from launching that campaign from a dead list, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying there's tactics and there's principles, right? We built off of principle, and then we use a tactic to deploy the principle.
I love it. And you're absolutely right. He does the work because he had just came off of that like 3-day bender that y'all had, freaking just working on all this stuff and putting it all together and trying to craft that message and everything. He was exhausted, but he was there, you know what I mean? Speaking to that group, pouring into people again, you know what I'm saying? But that is what I notice is, especially with marketing, there's a lot of work that goes into the initial. And once you get the initial set up, if you do it right and you have a really great message and you have a really great product, I mean, you can eat on that for years.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Easily.
That's what I'm excited about, going over the consulting side now. I know I'm putting together something amazing here, and I can feel it. I can feel the energy flowing towards it. We just brought on another consultant last week, you know what I'm saying? And we're having a call tonight to find out how to integrate him and start offering him. And so I'm super excited about putting those initial systems together because it's like I'm building a brand new business after being in business for 13 years. You know, I'm like a kid in a candy store again. So it's awesome. But
that's how it works out.
All right, so that what's next for you guys in your business? So you're niching out with ROI now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be the next big step.
Yeah. So my biggest goal right now. Is that, like, now I'm running as CEO of 2 big companies, right? So we have the Automation G.O.A.T, and then we have ROI marketing firm, which how we're releasing the marketing, by the way, for those of you that are doing other mergers, maybe this will give you an idea. It's ROI marketing firm powered by the Automation G.O.A.T,
nice.
right? So my first call to action inside the business internally was running through the team, running through the operations, seeing like where do we have overlap in both teams? How do I get these 2 teams to play together? We have project managers on board now that are working with the team. So my next biggest focus is getting the team and that niche down offers cycling on autopilot, right? So like once we finish the fitness side, boom, now I can replicate that for another vertical and then replicate it for another vertical. And the idea is the team can take this over from me and then just run with it. We got an awesome sales guy, our chief sales. He closed $10 million in sales last year.
Wow.
And so we're gonna bring him in, and he's gonna run the sales side. So ideally, cause I got my workload down to a little less than 20 hours a week now.
Nice.
So ideally,
you can do more of this.
Yeah, I get to do more of this. So ideally I get my workload with the companies down to less than 10 hours a week, to where it's literally I have meetings on this is how we're growing the company. Y'all go get to work. Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Yeah.
And then I get to go travel more, speak more, because like that's when the businesses grow the most, is when I have the freedom to go travel, to go speak, to go network. When I'm on the road, I'm making money.
And when I'm at home,
I mean, I am making money, but it's just not as fun.
100%. 100%. That's why I went consulting full time. I just have so much more fun jumping into other people's businesses and opening their eyes to like, hey, this is what a sales program can do for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it is very much what you talked about. You're not getting the calls every night. You're not out there training your guys in the field because you've developed systems and you've deployed those, and now they're working. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you can spend more time with the family. So I love that that's a big part of your impact that you want to make. So speaking to that, what do you feel legacy is, and what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Yeah. Be honest with you guys, all this tech shit is just a means to an end for me. Right? I don't know why I was given these gifts, but I'm fully utilizing and leveraging these gifts to get to my end goal. My end goal is to buy an old town. So in Oregon, you can buy old like mining and logging towns, like towns that have been abandoned. You can buy a full town outright. So my plan is to buy an old town, turn it into Marvin's World, Oregon, because I can actually apply to the state and turn it into my own city. There's some qualifications I have to put into place. Like, I have to have a city hall, I have to have a post office,
right?
And I have a couple things in place to have a city, but it's gonna fucking happen. So the idea is to build the Automation G.O.A.T to 100 million and sell it, and then take that capital, buy my town, and start building Marvin's World, Oregon. There's this idea I've been working on for the last decade called Farm in a Box, which is old world trades meet new world technology.
I fucking love that, dude.
So it's going to be a town of like tailors, blacksmiths, computer guys, woodworkers, teachers, farmers. Like, to live in this town, you don't have to have any capital. I have the capital. Anytime the town needs money, I got money.
Yeah.
What I need is people that are driven with work ethic, and they have a skill set that they can offer to the world and impact it. Then I'm going to take my resources and my experience, and let's say you're a woodworker and you come live in Marvin's World. Well, guess what? We're going to build your woodworking brand. We're going to build your social media. We're going to sell your goods online.
Okay.
And now, but that is your contribution to the town. And then we're gonna build Farm in a Box, which is, do you want to replicate our town? Do you want to replicate what we're doing? What kind of farm do you want? You want a wind-powered farm where you have goats? Cool. We're gonna design that for you, and we're gonna put everything that you need to run that farm in a shipping container and ship it to you with blueprints. And then we're gonna be partnered with. Now, I have colleagues in the roofing industry, the solar industry, real estate. Like, I have colleagues that can now build this, right? So we can ship the shipping container with you. You're going to unpack it, build your farm, and then use the shipping container to actually live out of. Or you can just have us come out and build it for you.
Right.
Either way, you're going to get the blueprints and the documentation. So that's the idea. Is I'm in tech right now, just to raise a shit ton of capital, so I can go buy a farm and become a farmer.
Marvin's World sounds cool as shit, but that Farm in a Box could happen now.
And that's what people keep telling me.
Yeah, like, the farm.
You don't have to wait till you have the town. That Farm in the Box says you better you better stop telling people about it. They're gonna steal your idea.
Well, I mean, all it is an evolution, right? Yeah. So somebody can go out and build you a shipping container house right now, right? Yeah. But the idea that's like, hey,
I want it to be fully modular.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's beautiful, man. And all you need is like an acre. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 2 acres, depending on what kind of animals you want, you know? Yeah. And so, like, we have 3 acres right now, and, you know, we got a manufactured home put out there. Now, it's like a $200,000 manufactured home. It's like the freaking...
the creme de la creme.
Of manufactured homes, you know?
But you almost can't tell unless you look at the foundation.
Right. And then, so you're out there, it's on 3 acres, and it's like stickers all around us, right? So the first thing we did is mow everything down, and then we installed the yard irrigation system, right? And so now we got that, and then we laid some concrete for a patio in the back and a garage. And then we had the aluminum building come in for the garage or whatever, you know? And so I feel what you're saying, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, if we didn't have a family of 5, we wouldn't need this big-ass house, you know? So if it was, like, me and my wife or something like that, and we're 20-something years old, you know what I mean? We got $200,000. We could buy a Farm in a Box, you know what I'm saying? And set up this little homestead that is also self-sustaining, you know? Exactly. And it may be like you got to a la carte the solar, you got to a la carte, you know, the wind farm or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And just drop it in the cart.
Yeah, and that is the idea, is it's going to be fully modular and run with the world's latest technology.
I love that.
Like, I want a fucking palm scanner to get into my shipping container.
Hell yeah.
You know, like, I scan these retinas to get into my computer room. You know, so, because I also know that with farming, like, there's so much tech in farming. Right, there's so many different ways that we can do it, and we can use automation. I have colleagues where they automate houses, right?
Yeah.
Like, in the way that I automate businesses and operations for businesses, they automate your fucking house.
I love
it.
Right,
they can make your garbage can go to the fucking curb. They can make certain rooms down. Play different.
My son's got to learn hard work somehow.
You know. And like you can walk into your room and be like, You can name your house whatever you wanted, by the way, too. You can be like, hey, Biggie Smalls, play this track. And, like, you can just name your house whatever you want and just walk around your house and talk to it. And so it's just fascinating, like, the way you can utilize AI and automation. Because I'm a firm believer in, like less leverage robots. Like, when I'm automating a business, that's the first thing I do is, like, we map out the customer journey. Cool. Now I know the journey, and I know what steps I need to take at each phase of the journey. Now, what tasks need to be done to facilitate this journey? Cool. Can a robot do that?
It's all programming.
If a robot can do that, let's make a robot do that. And then if a robot can't do it, do I have to do it? Like, does a CEO have to do that?
Right.
Or can another human do that? Like, can we do a hybrid of robot and human, right? Like, can we have a robot attempt it and then send a notification to tell the human to just double check the robot's work?
Yeah.
Right. Because, like, if you can get rid of doing your own laundry, just like Justin said yesterday, like, would you pay $100 a month to never do your laundry again? Yes, the fuck I would. Every day of the week. Yeah. Like, it's kind of like meal prepping. Like, just meal prepping alone, you can literally spend 2 or 3 hours on Sunday and make all your breakfast and lunch for the entire week.
And it tastes like crap by Thursday.
It tastes like shit by Thursday, but, or if you can get a little bit more bougie than that, though, now, because, like, now they have whole-ass fucking companies that, like, specifically for that problem, right? Like, I'm okay with my dry-ass chicken, broccoli, and rice by Thursday. However, if you're not okay with that and you have the capital, everything in life is time or money, baby. If you have the capital, get Icon or Factor or any of these other fucking... I haven't personally tried them, but I've heard great things. Like, my little brothers, for example, they do Blue Apron. They're like, I don't ever have to go to the grocery store. They bring the food to my house. They come with instructions. They have to still cook the meal, but
you learn so much in the process.
Now my little brother can make, like, these little pancakes from scratch that are, like, I was like, this motherfucker, like, they're fancy pancakes too. They're not like just put some Bisquick in a bowl with water. Like, there's some fancy pancakes, and he learned that from a Blue Apron,
That's dope.
or a Blue Apron meal. So, man, there's options out there. And you should always never think about the money. Like, you can always make more money. Think about how much time am I spending on this? Because if you spend 10 hours a week manually checking your spreadsheets, when you could make a robot do that in an hour for you, like, what else could you do with that other 9 hours, right? So, like, people will spend 10 hours trying to save $100 when in that 10 hours you could have made way more than $100.
Yeah. It's like me going out and building my own chicken coop. No, I'm going to order it from the guy in town that does nothing but build chicken coops. You know what I'm saying?
Unless I just like building chicken coops, right? Like, if you like building chicken coops...
That's me riding my lawnmower and mowing my acre. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of like building my cars in my garage, right? Like, and there will be some cars, like my rabbit truck, I'm sending that to a shop. I'm letting an engine builder build that one for me, right? But my 2-door rabbit, that's my baby. I'm building that one personally. So I could send it to a shop, but that's my hobby, right? So everybody's got to have your hobbies, but since everything else is automated, that means I get to put all my extra time into that hobby versus, well, I could only work on the rabbit for an hour because I got to spend 2 hours over here doing this other shit. Yeah.
Man, I could talk to you for another hour on this stuff. I really could.
This is the problem with Big Marv's Network. When people come on my podcast, they're like, so how long is it? Is there a question list? Usually I'm like, nope, it's unscripted, raw conversation. Yeah. So if you ever look up my podcast, if the episode is shorter than an hour, I didn't really vibe or click with the person. Gotcha. But those 3 or 4 hour episodes are like, get some popcorn, you're in for a treat.
Well, maybe we'll do that when Ryan's not holding one of the cameras.
And we don't got Kai over here waiting for his turn. He's like, all right, motherfuckers, can you wrap it up? I got other shit to do today.
All right, brother. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast, showing up in the trailer, you know what I mean? And on short notice, yesterday morning, I was like, hey, you want to jump on the podcast or what? What's up?
Yeah, and yesterday we didn't even know we were seeing each other.
We're like, we got to get together sometime, you know? And then we realized we're both speaking at the same event. We're like, oh shit, you're here. That was cool. But no, I'm looking forward to Marvin's World. I'm looking forward to the farm in the box. I know the dual funnel system's gonna just crush it, and especially when y'all niche it out, it's over, man. I'm so excited about the success you're gonna have, and I appreciate you sharing all of that with us, and for the bit of consulting you gave me too. I'll check for the invoice.
Perfect. Well, brother, it was good being here. I really enjoyed myself. Enjoyed the conversation. Would love to have you on Big Marv's network. Then maybe we could do that 3-hour episode.
Let's do it.
Just keep running. But it was awesome. Thank you guys so much. I'm Big Marv. One love.
Let's get building.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Building Great Sales Teams. Be sure to execute on what you just heard, and let's get building. As always, remember to subscribe and leave a review wherever you consume podcasts. You can also head on over to buildinggreatsalesteams.com and sign up for our newsletter to stay up to date with everything that's going on with the podcast. See you next time.